The world of celebrity gossip has reached a fever pitch following reports that Prince Harry is allegedly preparing a massive legal offensive against British talk show legend Graham Norton. Known for his razor-sharp wit and the ability to coax the most guarded secrets out of Hollywood's elite, Norton appears to have finally crossed the line that the Duke of Sussex, and more pointedly, the Duchess, deem unforgivable. This isn't just a minor spat over a joke. It is being described as a total destruction of the Harry and Meghan brand on one of the most watched platforms in the United Kingdom. As the legal threats loom, many are asking, has the Duke of Sussex finally lost his sense of humor, or was Norton's critique so devastating that only a courtroom can settle the score? The jokes that broke the camel's back. The tension between the Sussexes and the British media has always been high, but Graham Norton represents a different kind of adversary. Unlike the tabloid press, Norton's influence comes from humor and a massive global audience. During a recent monologue that has since gone viral, Norton took aim at the couple's seemingly endless quest for privacy while simultaneously releasing multi-part docuseries and tell-all memoirs. Norton famously quipped about the irony of the situation, suggesting that for a couple who stepped back to find a quiet life, they seemed to have a magnetic attraction to every camera lens from Montecito to London. While the audience roared with laughter, the reaction from the Sussex camp was reportedly cold, immediate, and furious. Is Meghan Markle the architect of controversy? At the center of this burgeoning legal battle is the undeniable influence of Meghan Markle. While Harry is the one technically threatening the lawsuit, royal insiders and critics alike point to Meghan as the primary driver of this hypersensitive defensive strategy. Since her entry into the royal family, Meghan has been the lightning rod for controversy, often viewed by the public as the director behind Harry's increasingly litigious nature. Critics argue that Meghan's Hollywood background has taught her that controlling the narrative is everything. When Graham Norton destroyed Harry on air, he wasn't just making fun of a prince, he was puncturing the carefully curated image that Meghan has spent years building. By portraying Harry as a man perpetually stuck between his royal past and a relatable future, Norton hit a nerve that Meghan simply cannot allow to go unpunished. A pattern of litigation. This latest threat to sue Graham Norton isn't an isolated incident, it's part of a broader, more aggressive strategy. Since moving to the United States, Prince Harry has filed numerous lawsuits against media organizations, ranging from phone hacking allegations to libel claims. However, targeting a comedian for on-air destruction marks a significant and potentially dangerous escalation. The critique of this strategy is simple: you cannot be a public figure who uses the media to tell your truth, and then sue the media when they provide a satirical commentary on that very same truth. By threatening Norton, a man who is essentially the national treasure of British broadcasting, Harry and Meghan risk alienating the few supporters they have left in the UK. The destruction of credibility. What exactly did Norton say that was so destructive? Beyond the jokes about their private lives, Norton touched on the perceived hypocrisy of their financial ventures. He noted that while the couple advocates for environmental causes, their penchant for private jets remains a staple of their travel. More damagingly, Norton highlighted the contrast between the Sussexes and the working royals, like the Prince and Princess of Wales. He pointed out how the public's perception has shifted, deifying William and Kate while viewing Harry and Meghan as perpetual complainers. This validation of public sentiment on a mainstream platform like the Graham Norton Show is what truly destroyed Harry. It made the quiet criticisms of the British public loud, funny, and undeniable. The legal reality. Legal experts suggest that Harry's case against Norton would be incredibly difficult to win. Satire and parody are highly protected forms of speech in both the UK and the US. For a lawsuit to succeed, Harry would have to prove actual malice, or that Norton's jokes were presented as false statements of fact rather than comedic opinion. The mere threat of the suit, however, serves its own purpose. It acts as a warning to other comedians and commentators. If you mock us, we will make it expensive for you. But as many have noted, this approach often backfires, creating the Streisand effect, where the original joke is amplified 1,000 times over because of the legal drama surrounding it. A house divided by humor. Prince Harry's furious reaction to Graham Norton's destruction reveals a deeper insecurity within the Sussex camp. It showcases a couple that is increasingly out of touch with how they are perceived by the general public. While Meghan Markle continues to be the controversial figurehead of this defensive movement, the real victim may be Harry's own reputation. By choosing to sue rather than laugh, he confirms the very caricature Norton painted of him.
Black hole that she's now in the awkward position
a man
of having
who has
to explain
traded his
how the
royal
hole got
duty
bigger
for a
while
life
she was
of professional
supposedly fixing
grievance.
it. It's like claiming you're going to repair a puncture in your tire only to discover you've somehow managed to puncture 3 more tires in the process. The speculation around the autumn budget is now reaching fever pitch. We're hearing whispers about wealth taxes, which is political speak for we're going to find creative ways to get money out of people who have it. It's like being told that the restaurant you're in is going to start charging extra for using the napkins. What makes this even more delicious is the timing. Labour came into power promising to be the adults in the room, the sensible ones who would sort out the mess left by the previous government. Instead, they're starting to look like someone who criticised their predecessors' driving skills only to immediately reverse into a bus stop. Andrew Neil's intervention here is particularly brutal because he's not just some random commentator throwing stones. This is a man who's been around Westminster longer than most of the furniture, and when he says you can't blame the previous government anymore, it carries the kind of weight that makes politicians wake up in a cold sweat. The really tragic thing about all this is that Reeves genuinely seems to have walked into this with the best of intentions. She wanted to be the Chancellor who restored credibility to Britain's finances. Instead, she's turning into a cautionary tale about the dangers of making promises you can't keep while standing in a rapidly expanding sinkhole. And let's be honest, the British public is getting pretty tired of being told that the solution to every problem is higher taxes. We've been down this road before, and it usually ends with everyone being poorer and the government still complaining they don't have enough money. It's like being told that the way to fix your leaky roof is to sell your car and live in the garden. The fact that even a left-leaning think tank like NIASA is sounding the alarm bells should tell you everything you need to know about how serious this situation has become. When your own side starts telling you that you're in trouble, that's not a gentle warning, that's the political equivalent of your best mate staging an intervention. What's particularly galling is that Labour spent years in opposition perfecting their economic messaging, positioning themselves as the fiscally responsible alternative. Now they're in power, and it turns out that governing is slightly more complicated than shouting at the other side from the opposition benches. Who could have seen that coming? The autumn budget is now shaping up to be less of a financial statement and more of a political survival exercise. Reeves is going to have to stand up in Parliament and essentially admit that things are even worse than she thought, and oh, by the way, everyone's going to have to pay more tax to fix it. It's like being invited to a party only to discover you're expected to pay for everyone else's drinks. Andrew Neil's timing with this intervention is absolutely perfect. He's essentially kicking someone when they're down, but doing it with such precision and style that you can't help but admire the craftsmanship. It's political commentary as performance art. So here we are, watching Rachel Reeves discover that being Chancellor is a bit like being handed the controls of a plane mid-flight, only to realise that not only is the plane already on fire, but someone's also stolen the instruction manual. And Andrew Neil is essentially standing there with a megaphone, helpfully pointing out that this particular crash landing can't be blamed on the previous pilot. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely fascinating to watch. Will Reeves find a way out of this mess? Will she stick to her fiscal rules and break her spending promises? Will she raise taxes and break her manifesto commitments? Or will she try some sort of political gymnastics routine that somehow squares this impossible circle? Whatever happens, one thing is certain, Andrew Neil has just reminded everyone that the blame game has an expiration date, and Rachel Reeves just hit hers. The political honeymoon is officially over, and reality has come knocking with a £51 billion bill. If you enjoyed watching this political car crash unfold as much as I did, make sure you're subscribed to UK Daily Coffee because trust me, this story is nowhere near finished. We'll be following every twist, turn, and spectacular political faceplant as they happen. Hit that notification bell because in British politics right now, The next disaster is always just around the corner, and you won't want to miss a second of the chaos. Until next time, keep your coffee strong and your political expectations appropriately low.